Boop, boop. All even live. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Week 3 in the NFL. It was crazy. Cowboys still suck. It's bad. But, hey, it is what it is, man. Rev, what's good? Eric, what's good, man? I gotta get ready. I gotta get ready for my Guido. I know you're gonna come with some BS today. So I gotta get ready. I gotta be prepared. Gotta be prepared for the smoke. Where's he at? So you see what I got on? Yeah, Eric, I got my Cowboys gear on. Yeah, sad the Eagles tied. The Eagles are a dumpster fire. Dumpster fire. You know why? Because they're the Eagles. And they have probably one of the worst quarterbacks in the league mentally, not physically. Carson Wentz is a great quarterback. He has all the physical tools. But up here, nah, he ain't got it, man. He ain't got it. So the Eagles are in big trouble with that. Big, big trouble. The whole NFC East, is a wash. I think 6-10 or 7-9 is gonna win that division. I ain't gonna lie to you. Mike Guido! He needs Foles, yeah, definitely. If he had Foles' brain, he'd be one of the best quarterbacks to ever live. Guido! Just waiting for Guido to tap in. I don't know where he's at. He always late. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going on, man. His connection probably funky. He's stalling. That's exactly what he's doing. He's stalling. Yo, what's good? Punch. I don't know what's going on with Guido. Anyway, NBA Finals, Game 1. It's about to go down. But Guido's requesting again. See what's happening with his bootleg phone. Game 1 of the NBA Finals is tonight. It's going to be great. Oh,
here we go.
Is your connection fine now, Mr. Guido?
Huh? I don't know.
Are you having connection issues?
Apparently, yeah.
Okay. All Even Live, episode 9. Mike Guido, how you doing?
Not bad, man. How are you?
I've been better. You know.
Dak sucks. It's all right.
Cowboys stink, but yet they're still going to win a division at 6-10. So
it's true.
Yeah.
That's not an exaggeration either. They might do that.
No, it's really not an exaggeration. So, Mike Guido,
yes.
What is your takeaway from Week 3 of the NFL?
I have a couple. I think there are a couple of things that really stood out to me. The first being, and I covered this, I'm going to give myself a little bit of a plug, if you don't mind.
Shameless plug.
This
Shameless
logo
plug.
right behind me is for Guido's Gridiron Blitz on the Landry Football Podcast Network. You can catch that every Monday and Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern in the afternoon. So make sure that you catch that. You get me for an hour for 2 days. It's a privilege.
Sir. Listen,
anyway,
I'm locked in already. The first episode was beautiful. It was great. I love it.
Thank you very much. So as you'll know, you probably know my takeaways already, Barrington Grant, because you listen to my show. So here's where I went with this. So the first thing that I covered was I understand that Dak Prescott threw for 475 yards, right? Or something around that number.
He threw for 700 yards, yeah.
Yeah, he threw for 5,000 yards, and he still found a way to lose the game. Like this was my big thing. Okay, because I keep hearing from Cowboy fans that saying, "Oh, but Guido, it's not Dak's fault. I mean, look, he threw for 500 yards. He
Right.
was unbelievable." Okay, you should be throwing for 400 yards a game when you have that offensive personnel. Can we agree
Right.
on that? Right? Like,
Yeah.
he's got
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, who, granted, had a bad game, but he had Zeke in the backfield. He's got the best group of receivers in the NFL. I keep saying that. We keep saying that. Right? The Dallas Cowboys group of receivers is the best in the NFL, and I don't think
Agreed.
it's close. I don't
No,
think it's
no, it's
close.
not.
They
It's
have
not.
three guys that look special. Like those,
Yeah.
all three of them, I think, could be number one receivers on another team. They all
Yes.
could be. Okay, but that also being said, he's got a great O-line, and one thing we know about Mike McCarthy is that he's not a bad football coach, right? He might not be a great football coach, but he certainly isn't a bad one.
No.
Like
No.
we can say that.
Yeah.
Look at what Russell Wilson's got in Seattle. Okay, Russell Wilson has a terrible O-line. Pete Carroll's a great coach. I don't want to undermine that. But offensive line is terrible.
Yeah.
The receivers he has are not special. Tyler Lockett's okay. He's a
They're
little
average.
fast gadget guy.
Yeah. They're
DK
average.
Metcalf is this big physical specimen, but he can't really
Can't
run
run
routes.
routes.
Right. Like he has okay wide receivers. He's got a good running game, but it's running back by committee. It's Chris Carson and guys like that are. He's got a solid running game, and the defense in Seattle, I would argue, is worse than Dallas.
Yes.
That Seattle defense is not good. It's Bobby Wagner, Jamal Adams, and
That's it.
who? Like that's it right there. Yeah. They don't have a D line. They don't, outside of Bobby Wagner, they don't really have any linebackers. Their secondary's young and inexperienced.
Right.
Like, it's just, what's Russell Wilson working with? The Seahawks can't afford to put a great roster around Russell Wilson because they're paying Russell Wilson $35 million a year.
Absolutely.
Okay? If Dak Prescott can't beat the Seahawks with the roster that he has,
Yeah.
despite the fact that Russell Wilson has a way worse roster than what Dak has,
Right.
then how can the Cowboys justify paying him more than Russell Wilson? Like,
Yeah, no, I agree.
I understand that Dak played pretty well. I'm not saying that he didn't play well. Dak didn't win the football game. He didn't win the football
Seattle
game.
defense, I see better garbage at the
It's true. No, but it's true. Like, but that's a testament to how bad this roster is.
Yeah.
And I've said this over and over again. The Seahawks are a Russell Wilson show. If you look at this roster on both sides of the football, from top to bottom, it's not a good roster.
No.
If you put Russell Wilson on the Cowboys, they're the Super Bowl favorite. Right?
100%.
They're the Super Bowl favorite. If you put Dak in Seattle,
They don't win 3
Seahawks
games.
are guaranteed to be in last place in their division.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that's the discrepancy. Like, that is the thing. And I know a lot of Cowboys fans are just like, oh, these Dak haters just don't get it. No, you don't get it. Like, Dak's roster's unbelievable. Last week was a perfect representation of why I am slow on Dak.
Yeah.
That's why I'm slow on Dak. And he played well. I get that, but not well enough.
Right. No,
That's
I agree.
my first.
Listen, I am with you. Like, you know me. I've been a Dak apologist since we've met, but I've slowly started to go the other way because I've really ran out of patience with Dak Prescott. Because again, another game, we end up starting extremely slow. And I keep saying it. You can't keep putting this on the coach. We have a new coach. We have a brand new staff. This starts and ends with number 4.
Right.
That's the problem. It's him. Everything else can change around the Cowboys. They can get better offensive linemen. They can go get a whole new defensive line that we have. We can get this young secondary. We have these young ball hawks that can end up being really, really good.
Yeah.
But what's the common denominator? What's the thing that doesn't change? Dak Prescott.
Right.
And until I don't know what he has to do, or maybe this is just who he is. But if this is who he is, then the Cowboys need to make a decision and say, we've surrounded you with the best parts we think that you'll possibly ever have in your career, especially if you're going to be making X amount of dollars. It might not get better than this offensively.
Well, here's the thing, Barry, and I've said this for a while too, is I'm not even telling the Cowboys to let Dak go, but let Dak hit the market. Like, if he goes into free agency asking for $40 million, okay, let somebody else overpay him. Like, because 100%, and you know this because I've said this to you a lot of times.
Yeah.
The Cowboys know for a fact that if they pay Dak Prescott, it's going to go poorly. Yeah. If you take a chance on some kid that you don't know yet, or you don't have yet, or you draft some guy or whatever, there's at least a chance that could turn out well, right?
Yes.
Like, there's at least a somewhat of a chance that could turn out well. So, again, I'm not saying let Dak go. Let Dak hit the market. If somebody's willing to overpay for him, fine, go ahead. But
I agree. I agree.
If you were saying I could get Dak Prescott for $28 million, okay, sign me up. I'm good.
Yeah.
$40 million is ridiculous. Especially
ridiculous
seeing
amount of money.
What he's doing with this roster.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I was having a conversation with one of my friends the other day, and I was like, it would be really interesting if the Jets give up on Darnold. And you might be able to say, okay, well, we finished 7-9, we finished 8-8, we go to the playoffs and get slapped in the first round. Are we going to continue? Yeah, are we going to continue down this Dak path, or are we going to actually cut our losses and try to go get a younger guy that we can be able to develop with Mike McCarthy? Get all of the bad habits that he has out and figure it out that way. Have this young team grow together. That to me is actually a better situation than overpaying for Dak Prescott.
No, I don't hate that situation either. Let me throw this at you also, because you're not too far off from what I was thinking months ago.
Yeah.
Straight up. Okay, this is a straight up trade. Who says no, right? Dak Prescott straight up to Las Vegas for Derek Carr. And again, I'm not saying that that's a possibility, but in a completely hypothetical scenario,
would you do it?
Right, where Gruden just wants to go with a different guy, right? He's not in love with Derek Carr for some reason. I don't know why he wouldn't be, but he's not in love with Derek Carr. He wants to try out something new.
Yeah.
Dallas isn't finding ways to win games with Dak Prescott for some reason. Right. Dak for Derek Carr, straight up. They just swap.
I mean, listen, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it. I would prefer somebody younger. I would want somebody fresh that doesn't have the bad habits that Derek Carr has. Derek Carr doesn't have a lot of them, but he does have some bad habits. So I would like for somebody that is very young, that is, inexperienced, may have had, a bad coach or two, like a Darnold, even a Josh Rosen, somebody like that. I would literally take a chance on, because it's like, you can be able to mold pretty decent quarterbacks in this league. You may not end up making them a superstar or a Hall of Famer, but if you have these great weapons around you and you have a quarterback that can make all of these throws, he doesn't need to be a superstar. He just needs to be able to be very poised and a field general to get you by. You know what I mean? So it's like, I would rather that situation, because every time we've had a conversation, Mike, I text you, and then, we'd have the same type of energy. We can't pay Dak Prescott that much money. You can't give him $40 million. You can't give him this.
Every week. Every
week. You can't do it. You just can't. There's no way that you can be able to keep Amari Cooper. And as much as he's underperforming, he's making $20 million. You're going to give Dak $40+ million. How are you going to be able to fill out this roster, especially when the cap is going down next year?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Look, Bap just brought something up too, but I actually disagree with him a little bit. He said Gruden likes a dog. Dak isn't a dog. He's not a Gruden type of quarterback. I actually disagree. I think the problem is that Dak is a dog, but Dak's only a dog. Like that's like for the first 3 quarters, he'll be all right, but then you'll be down by 17 points at the start of
And
the
turn it
fourth
to Joe
quarter,
Montana.
and
Yeah.
he gets good too late. Like that.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is. The problem is that I'm not getting enough production from Dak in the first 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, he's great. That's fine. But I'm not getting enough production, especially against good football teams.
Right.
I'm not getting enough in the beginning of the game. Listen, Dak's great late in games. He's got that dog thing. But I'm not getting enough pre-dog. I need more of that. So that's, again,
Okay, switching topics. Atlanta Falcons blow it again, and Nick Foles saves the day. Thoughts?
Whatever. Listen, I don't think either one of these teams make the playoffs. The Bears are 3-0. By some miracle, they'll eventually go down back to earth. I don't think that Nick Foles is I don't think Nick Foles is a starting quarterback. I think that Dan Quinn is Dan Quinn is already in quicksand with his job. Yeah. I think we're just waiting for him to go all the way down. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
He should have been in quicksand after he lost the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Look, it's becoming habitual now where they're just losing games. Something I heard before, I think it's the first time in NFL history that a team has lost 2 straight games after leading by 17 points at the start of the fourth quarter. Yeah, they've lost 2 straight games.
It is what they've done. 2
straight games like that.
What they've done in the first 2 weeks, Mike, is virtually impossible. And
their offense is rolling. The Falcons can score.
That defense is a sieve.
And Dan Quinn is a defensive coach. That's what Dan Quinn is.
Yeah.
So it's on him, man. It's on him. It's not. You're not buttoned up. Just that's the way it is. Here's what I do want to bring up, though. As far as that is concerned, I'm going to bring it back. I don't want to spend too much time on the Cowboys. Yeah. But this is just another point. The Cowboys are one Falcons typical mistake from being 0-3.
Mm-hmm.
Are we this quick to defend Dak Prescott at 0-3?
No. And exactly. also too, are we quick to defend Dak Prescott at 0-3 if he wasn't in this division?
Oh yeah. No, listen, if he's 1-2 and he's in 3rd place in the AFC South or something like right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the fact that this division is so terrible that they still have a chance to actually win this division because they're literally in 1st place right now.
I think they could, Barry. That's the thing is I think the Cowboys could win the division.
I think they are.
It certainly isn't going to be Washington or the Giants because they're going to be terrible.
No, sadly,
the Eagles look terrible so far.
Something's wrong with Carson Wentz.
I think eventually he'll pick it back up. I do. The Eagles are a little banged up, but I think he'll pick it back up.
We've had this conversation, Mike. You, for some reason, think that Carson Wentz is a good quarterback.
He's a top 7 quarterback in the league.
I don't think he is. I think he has the physical tools. He don't have this, though. He doesn't have the mental toughness to be a strong quarterback. That's and he's shown that. So I don't understand why you continue to support a guy that shows you who he is.
That division is terrible.
Terrible. Let me tell you something.
There's a bunch of knuckleheads in that division.
Oh
boy. So okay, so here's another takeaway of mine that I do want to bring up to you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with this one first because recency bias. But Monday Night Football, right? Chiefs Ravens. I think everybody expected that was going to be a better game than it was. The Chiefs.
Well, I called it 37-34, and the Chiefs railroaded them.
The Chiefs chokeholded them the whole time. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah.
So here, I want you to tell me if I'm far off on this.
Yeah.
But I think most people feel really good about both the Chiefs and the Ravens' futures. right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes are both studs. Like I think everybody feels that they're going to be set up for a good amount of time,
Yeah, the next
and
5 years.
especially the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But doesn't this feel very Brady Manning? Like I just want to throw this out there because the Baltimore Ravens have been surreal since Lamar Jackson's been the starting quarterback, right?
Yeah.
The only team in the NFL that has beaten them more than once is Kansas City. That's it. The only team in the NFL that's beaten them more than once. They've played them 3 times, and the Chiefs won all 3 times. So, again, keep this in mind. I think most people would believe that Lamar and Patrick Mahomes are 1 and 2 in the AFC, right? These are the 2 best quarterbacks in the AFC because Deshaun Watson is probably 3rd, but he's not
third.
in that same category.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so Lamar and Patrick Mahomes are 1 and 2, and these I think are 2 of the teams. I think most people had the Ravens and the Chiefs as the 2 best teams in the AFC going into the season, right?
Yeah.
That's what Brady and Peyton were, right? It was Colts and Patriots. And listen, I think it's a little bit different because I think Peyton's a little bit better than Brady. I mean, I know I'm on an island on that.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
I think Peyton's a little bit better than Brady, and I think Mahomes in this case is a little bit better than Lamar.
Yeah.
But like, I think Peyton's better, but Brady always used to beat Peyton, right? Like Brady beat Peyton most of the time, and Peyton Manning ended up. I know he won that 2nd Super Bowl in Denver. I'm not really counting that for this discussion, but the Colts. Peyton Manning only won 1 Super Bowl with the Colts. Tom Brady won 6 in New England, right?
Yeah.
The Baltimore Ravens don't want to be the 1 Super Bowl team with Lamar. They want to be the 6 Super Bowl team with Lamar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it looks like to me the Chiefs are going to end up being the dynasty and the Ravens are going to be the Colts, if you know what I mean.
No, I agree with you. I'll take it a little further, too. The thing that separates, because, I've had this conversation with you even last year where, you were riding the Lamar Jackson train, and I was like, he's good, but he has the tendency of throwing stinkers. And Monday Night Football was a stinker. That was a terrible game by that quarterback. And that his talent has a limit. He's great on the ground. He can run. He can do this. He can possibly make every throw, but he's going to occasionally throw these stinkers. Patrick Mahomes will never throw a stinker like what Lamar Jackson did on Monday night. It'll never happen. Why? Because Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback. He reads defenses better. He's actually a smarter quarterback. And he has a better situation. Patrick Mahomes, if you watch how he commands the huddle or he commands that line of scrimmage, he's never looked under duress, ever.
He's never overwhelmed. You're right.
I saw Lamar Jackson look overmatched on Monday night.
Yeah.
And I've seen that too many times in his career already. So can he get better? Can he progress? Of course. But at the end of but I don't see him elevating enough to win multiple. I think he probably gets 1. He might get 1. I don't see Lamar Jackson winning any more than 1 because of that. Because he has the occasion of letting you down when you need him.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I think you're. And of course you're going to think this is coming from me, obviously, but like I think you're being a little hard on him. And the only reason I'm saying that is because Lamar Jackson has dominated the NFL, except for the Chiefs, right? Like he only throws up stinkers against the Chiefs. That's the thing. That's the team that's figured him out, right?
Yeah. Lamar
Jackson against every other team in the league. No, I mean nobody can get him. Nobody has him. Right?
Yes.
I think you're right though, because I think Lamar Jackson could end up being, like I said, he could end up being that he's going to get past it once, and he's going to get that one Super Bowl. I think Lamar Jackson's going to win a Super Bowl one day,
Yeah.
but Patrick Mahomes could win 3 or 4. Like that's that's going to be the big difference here. So
Right.
I don't know. I think that. Listen, I still like the Ravens a lot. I don't think that
Yeah, they're good.
we should all get sour on them now. The Ravens are still a phenomenal football team.
They're good.
But everybody, the entire NFL right now runs through Kansas City.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Inarguably. I mean, they are just blowing everybody out of the water.
Real quick, switching gears. Do you think that the Bills are for real?
Yeah, I do actually. Here's the thing. There are a couple of things that a lot of Super Bowl teams have in common if you look, in the past, right? And I guess, it's a little bit less because the Patriots have won so much that sometimes it's just, it doesn't matter. But
right.
The Bills, to me, have all the key components, right? Yeah. They're blowing everybody away because nobody can score on them. This defense for the Bills is ridiculous. And they had a little bit of a hiccup against the Rams this weekend, but I think the Rams might be for real too because they've had a really nice showing in the first 3 weeks.
Yes.
But the Bills' defense is fantastic. I think they have the best corner I think Tre'Davious White's the best corner in football.
I agree.
They get after the quarterback. They've got a studly lineup of linebackers right in the middle of that defense. Tremaine Edmonds is an unbelievable linebacker. And Josh Allen, listen, Russell Wilson, I think most people would say, is the front runner for MVP so far this year. Josh Allen is probably number 2. But he's having such an amazing – they've done such a good job at developing him because the one thing about Josh Allen that drove everybody crazy was that he could run like crazy. He was such an athletic player. He's got such a strong arm, but he had no idea where it was going. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, he just had a sporadic arm. He was completing 56% of his throws, and you just can't win football games like that. You just can't, right? Josh Allen so far this year, his accuracy's been up. Stephon Diggs is making a huge difference in that offense.
Yes.
Huge. But they run the ball with Devin Singletary.
Yeah.
That running back combination is working, right?
Yes.
Devin Singletary and Zach Moss are making it work in Buffalo. They really are. The offensive line's gotten a lot better.
Yes.
They've got really fast receivers that do a bunch of different things. Listen, I love Sean McDermott as a coach. I think he's a really good head coach, and he's exactly what they need over there. He's not a big, he's not a guy with a big head. He's just, he puts his head down and he coaches the way he's supposed to coach. Right? I love that about Sean McDermott.
We got a question about the Yankees real quick. What do you guys think? Listen, I
close it out tonight.
I had the Yankees and the Dodgers in the World Series, and it's a pick 'em after that point. I think both teams are really strong. Garrett Cole is showing you that he's the best pitcher in baseball. Like he's so effortless. What he does on that mound, he reminds me a little bit of Kurt Schilling, how he throws the ball. It's very effortless. It's dominant. Once that fastball gets on you, it looks 102, but it's like what, 97, 96?
It's 96, 97, 98, yeah.
He is phenomenal, man. And listen, the Yankees, they're clicking. I remember when they were, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, it was like a month ago, they were struggling big time. They had a lot of injuries. They did not look good. I think at one point they were like 21 and 18, and they just didn't look good.
They were 5 and 15 in a stretch of 20 games.
They were just going through a rough stretch. Everybody was talking about that. Boone was going to get fired. He's on the hot seat, and all of a sudden, lightning struck, and the Yankees are the Yankees again. So it's like, am I shocked? I'm not shocked. Am I impressed? Not really impressed because I expected them to be here. I was actually shocked that they struggled that mightily because guess what? Remember last season, they had a myriad of injuries. Everybody was hurt last year. And they ended up getting past that and winning so many games that we never thought that they were going to win. So we just thought that they were going to be able to do that again. But in a shortened season, the pressure is higher. I think they were kind of pressing a little bit and realizing, listen, we have to start playing good baseball get into the postseason on a rhythm, which instead of going in limping, because you go into the postseason limping, teams are going to see that, they're going to expose you, and you're going to be going home. So they got clicking at the right time. I think they're going to the World Series, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think, and I don't want to spend too long on this because I don't want to get too far off track, but I do think that I think Tanaka closes the series tonight because he's such an unbelievable playoff pitcher for some reason, but he's so good in the playoffs. And the big thing, and again, I don't think people should be overly surprised on the outcome of last night's game in Cleveland because the Yankees are healthy now. Right. They weren't healthy all year. They had a fully healthy lineup last night. Aaron Judge was back. Stanton was back. Gleyber Torres finally got going, right? DJ LeMahieu's back. Luke Voigt's having a phenomenal season, right? I think Luke Voigt led the major leagues in home runs. So I think, I think the Yankees right now are rolling because they got off to, right at the end of the regular season, they started playing well again, and now they're fully healthy. Yeah. Right? Garrett Cole had a great game last night. And again, you got to keep this in mind, too. They touched up Shane Bieber, Shane Bieber is the runaway Cy Young Award winner in the American
100%.
League.
And they
run
beat him
away,
down.
and they touched him up bad. Yeah. So if you're a Yankee fan, that's a great. So I agree with you, Bear. I think the ceiling for this team is a World Series win. I don't want to get ahead of myself because I want to see it a couple more times.
Yes.
But I think they do beat the Indians tonight, and I can't imagine them losing in the next round either.
No, I agree. Listen, I think I've been waiting for a Yankees-Dodgers World Series for a long time.
I think I think we could get it. I really do. The biggest hurdle for them is going to be Tampa. If they can beat Tampa, they'll be fine. Yeah.
I think the Yankees could beat Tampa, but if we get that Yankees-Dodgers World Series, it's gonna be electric, Mike. It probably may go down as one of the best series that we've ever seen. I just have that feeling. Call me crazy, but this whole shortened season, it hasn't been a season where everybody's gung-ho and excited about it. But we just may get a World Series that will last a lifetime and say, remember that shortened season? We don't really remember much. We don't remember who was the home run leader. But man, that World Series, those Yankees and Dodgers, they tore it up. You know what I mean? So I'm really interested to see what happens with that, man. I want to see it in the worst way. I can't wait. And I listen, I'm not a Yankee fan. I'm a Mets fan. I'm a miserable Mets fan. But I would love to see those two teams because those are the two best teams. And whoever wins, it doesn't really matter to me. You know what I mean?
I'm really surprised that you said Garrett Cole was the best pitcher in baseball when you got the DeGrominator over there in Queens.
I gotta be honest. DeGrom is great.
I'll be honest with you. I'm a Yankee fan, and I think DeGrom's better. I do. I think DeGrom's better than Cole.
I think it's a push. When you're looking at them, they have the same moxie, the same, toughness. They know even when they don't have great stuff, they're still gonna bring it. And that's what I like about them. So if you want to be fair and give me some sympathy because I'm a Mets fan, let's call it a push. All right? Let's call it a push. Moving
all right,
to
so
the
anyway, wait, I want to finish this Bears thing.
Yeah,
because I didn't hear what you thought because you asked me if they were for real. I think they're for real. What about you?
Honestly, I think that they are the new toast of the AFC East. If you're seeing how they're building that organization, they look like they have it all together. There's camaraderie from the top to the bottom. And they have a quarterback, a franchise quarterback. They look like they are a stable organization. Out of the Jets, the Dolphins, even the Patriots, the Patriots are in a little flux right now. They'll get it together. But I just feel that when you're looking at a stable organization, you're looking at three things. You're looking at the owner. You're looking at the head coach and the staff, and you're looking at the quarterback. It's all in sync in Buffalo. And the last time we had that was the Patriots, where everything just fell into place. That's how they look to me. It doesn't matter if they're down, if they're up. They just have a look of a franchise, of an organization that's figured it out. They've been good. For the last decade, the Bills haven't been terrible, right? They haven't been
No.
terrible, but they just needed some consistency from those 3 levels. They finally have it. And now I think we're going to start seeing that. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but maybe you start seeing that Jim Kelly type of consistency from this organization. Call me crazy.
No, I don't think you're crazy. And listen, I think it's really tough in the NFL. And I think I need people to listen to this because not a lot of people get it. It is so hard, so hard to get coach and quarterback right in this league. It's just so hard. It can happen. It's hard to get them right separately.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get it right at all. It really is. Like, if you get a coach that's good and a quarterback that's good and it works, I mean, that's fortunate because it's not common in the NFL. There are so many teams that just cycle in and out of the playoffs, in a 10-year stretch where it's every other year they make the playoffs. There's no consistency or anything.
I agree.
It's really rare to get that. So
I agree. All right, so let's move forward to the NBA because I got a lot to cover here, Mike. I got a lot to cover in the NBA, especially with the Clippers. Rumor has it that Doc Rivers got replaced or he got fired because the star players said that, well, they didn't give him a ringing endorsement after the playoffs were finished. So now, we're hearing all of these rumblings. What do you think about that? Do you think that Doc Rivers' firing was justified, or do you think that these star players, quote unquote, that they have, are a little bit over their stripes, and they think that they're running an organization when they shouldn't have all of this power, like these particular guys? Thoughts?
Well, I don't think you're ever going to hear me complain about Doc Rivers. Like, I think it's really hard to, I view Doc Rivers kind of like I view Andy Reid, right? Like, they spend so much time. They're such great coaches, but they're given crap because very rarely do they ever get over the hump, right? Like Andy Reid just got his first Super Bowl last year. Doc Rivers, here's the thing about this, though. I think that you and I were ahead on this more than everybody else, right? Like we kind of understood, right? Well, we kind of understood that the Clippers had more dysfunction than they were leading on. So I think that this is the scenario that I would imagine played out in my head. Steve Ballmer, who's the owner of the Clippers, Steve Ballmer talked to Kawhi and talked to Paul George because those are his big money guys, right? Because everybody knows that the Clipper organization has been giving them special treatment, so I wouldn't expect it to be any different in this scenario either.
Correct.
I'm assuming that Steve Ballmer and maybe Michael Winger or anybody else in the front office was, they talked to Kawhi and talked to PG, and they said, listen, do you think Doc is the guy to get you there? And I don't even think Kawhi or PG said, no, he's not the guy. But maybe they said, I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. I have no idea. And I think that was enough for Steve Ballmer to say, all right, maybe we need to make a change. Now, I don't think that that's necessarily justified. I think they could have kept Doc Rivers and ran it back, and it might have been fine. Again, like another year under their belt might have fixed all their problems. It's just it might have been so, it just might have been early for them. But, it's really tough for me to say, but I think Doc Rivers is going to go somewhere else and have nearly as much success as he had in Boston and in Los Angeles with the Clippers. I just do. So, I don't know. I think in the long run, this could prove to be a mistake for the Clippers. That's my first impression.
You ready for my take?
I'm waiting. Okay.
I hate being right. I hate it. Mike, I hate being right. I told you
Didn't you call it? You called it, right?
I did. Of course I did. I told you a year ago. I said, just wait. They're going to show you who they are. Because guess what? Steve Ballmer fired Doc Rivers because he had no choice. You know why? Because Doc Rivers, Lawrence Frank, and the brain trust of the Clippers went to Steve Ballmer and says, we need to get rid of all of our draft picks because we have a chance to get Kawhi Leonard here. And guess what? He says that we can get Paul George too. Okay, well, I'm the owner. I don't really know much about basketball. I put you guys in charge. Go ahead, get it done. They don't have a first-round pick until 2026. Their own first-round pick until 2026. They are stuck with this marriage no matter how bad and dysfunctional it is. So for Steve Ballmer to look like a competent owner, he has to fire Doc Rivers because they need to shake things up. They need to shake things up because they're in win mode now, right? Like win now mode. Like they need to show that they made the right decision in regards to going all in with these two guys. And if these two guys now are picking the next head coach and it fails, now it's on the players, right?
Right. Yeah,
now,
of course.
But here's the bad thing about that is that, and this is why Steve Ballmer, he will learn from this, hopefully, that you don't give the keys to guys that don't deserve it. It's like if I'm your father, right? If I have a kid and, I want to have my kid, but if my son is 15 and he's very irresponsible, I'm not going to give him the keys to the car.
Right.
Because he's not going to take care of that car. He's going to destroy it. That's what Steve Ballmer did with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. He gave the franchise to two guys that one Paul George was never a leader wherever he was. He wasn't well liked where he was in Indiana because his teammates didn't speak fondly of him when he left.
Sure.
Then he went to OKC. He was a second fiddle there. Now he ends up here. Let's go to Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard got drafted on a team that had 3 Hall of Famers. He didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to speak. All he had to do was play defense. Once that team started to get older and he started to ascend, you started to see the Spurs decline. Why? Because they don't have that voice anymore. They don't have those veteran guys that can lead the ship, forward. They have this guy who's never learned to be a leader. Like, you can't teach somebody how to be a leader. Fast forward now, he gets traded to Toronto. He's not the leader on the Raptors. That's Kyle Lowry. That's Nick Nurse. He didn't have to lead that team. He was just a mercenary. So now you're giving your franchise to a mercenary who's never learned how to lead, who's never wanted to lead. But everybody's telling Kawhi Leonard that he's the best thing in the world. He's the greatest player in the world. He believed the hype. And not only did he do that, but he allowed Kawhi Leonard to sign a 2-year contract +1. So, long-winded, if it doesn't work next year, he brings in the coach that they want, and it doesn't work, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George can say, okay, well, bye. It didn't work. And now what are you left with as an organization? You have a new arena. You have no stars to build that arena. So you basically ruined yourself for 2 guys that didn't deserve the keys. That's a problem. That is a problem.
It sure is.
And this is why the Clippers are the Clippers. This is why they will always be in the basement. This is why I've never seen more than 2 Clippers fans in my entire life. And Clipper Darrell is one of them. And the other guy I saw on the street that had a shirt on and he said he was a Clippers fan. I don't know if they exist. Clippers Nation doesn't exist. Why? Because it's a joke of a franchise. They will always be. Moving forward to the NBA Finals. Who you got? Who you got?
You ready for this?
Yeah. And listen, be correct because I beat you senseless in the last round. I told you that the Heat were going to win in 6. I told you.
Lakers in 5.
Elaborate, please. Please.
Lakers in 5.
I need to hear why.
Because you're not going to convince me that Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo are going to beat LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
But they
That
have
like,
Eric
listen,
Spoelstra. He's such a great
listen,
coach.
uh,
I'm playing devil's
okay,
advocate. I'm playing that.
cool. Okay, Eric Spoelstra. Ooh, like I don't care. Listen, the Heat in the East, their road through the East, right, was Indiana, who, Indiana's okay. They're good. They're whatever.
They didn't have their top star. They
Right. They didn't have Victor
Oladipo's banged
Oladipo,
up,
so
and they didn't have Sabonis. So
right, whatever. Then they go through the Bucks. That's a quality series win. That
legitimate.
is a quality series win. And then
Right.
they go through the Celtics, who, as much as I loved the Celtics, and as much as I thought the Celtics were the best team in the East, I really did.
Yeah.
Their best player is Jason Tatum. Right? Their best player is Jason Tatum. Their second best player is Kemba Walker. They're good. They're well coached. They're young. They play good defense. But I mean, they're young and
And they're
not a whole
isolation
ton of.
players.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's not the same deal.
Yeah.
Now Jimmy's got to go. And again, you got to also keep this in mind too. LeBron beat Portland, who again, say what you want about Portland, and I'm not trying to elevate them as something that they're not. But their best player is Damian Lillard, who's a top 10 player in the league.
Yes.
So they walk through Portland. They go through Houston like it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Then they go through Denver like it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, to me, LeBron and Anthony Davis have ran through the West like nobody's business. I almost said the F word. But I almost dropped an F-bomb. But like they've run through the West like nobody's business. And LeBron has owned Eastern Conference teams his entire career.
Yeah.
So I get it. The Heat are, I guess, pun intended, right? The Heat are hot right now, but I'll give them one game against the Lakers. They might even steal game one because that seems to be a trend for the Lakers right now. They might steal game one from the Lakers. LeBron is not losing more than one game in this finals. Lakers in 5.
I said Lakers in 5 on my show, so I'm gonna stick with it. But sometimes I could be a little waffly.
So you agree with me?
I could be a little waffly. So you know what? The fact that you said 5, I gotta go 6. I'm giving the Heat another game. Maybe Tyler Hero gets hot. They steal a game. It goes 6. It ain't going 7 though. It ain't going 7. And the thing is,
I almost had Lakers in 4. I almost picked the Lakers in a sweep.
Well, if it was
I don't think the Heat have a shot. I don't think that. Listen, they're a nice story, and they've got a bunch of young players that can really play, and they're feeling themselves right now. Right, like Tyler Hero is, like their dawning Tyler Hero is like this. He's going to be the next star. Yeah, he's the next Klay Thompson. I'm like, this just stop. He's had one good game. Like, give me a break. But like Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson and Bam and Kendrick Nunn and guys like that. Listen, they got guys that can play. I like them. I really do. The Heat roster is good. It's good. Yeah. Okay? But you're not going to convince me ever. You are never going to convince me that a team that is led, and again, I think it's as simple as this. It boils down to as simple as this. A team whose best player is Jimmy Butler is not going to beat a team whose best player is LeBron James and their second best player is Anthony Davis. You're not convincing me. I think the Lakers roll them.
Here's my issue and what scares me about the Miami Heat. Not saying that it scares me in regards to them winning the series. But I am curious to see what Eric Spoelstra does with that zone. He can't play zone against LeBron James. Remember, we've had this conversation already. If he goes zone against LeBron, he's going to get killed. And it's not, and it might not even be a 15-point win. It may be a 35-point win. You cannot play zone against LeBron James. It won't work. Especially with a dual threat weapon like Anthony Davis, it's not going to work. The other issue that Miami has is size. Bam Adebayo is the same size as LeBron James, literally. They're the same height.
Bam's 6'9".
About 6'9",
he's good, but he's 6'9".
240. He's basically LeBron James. What other big do they have to deal with McGee, to deal with Dwight, to deal with, if you call Marquise, Anthony Davis, the size alone for LA is going to overwhelm the Heat.
Right.
And
no, they're not beating those guys with Myers Leonard and Kelly Olynyk.
Right. That's just my thing. And then when you think about their perimeter players, Miami, you have Alex Caruso that can guard Tyler Hero. He's going to frustrate Tyler Hero.
Oh, yeah. He definitely will.
Duncan Robinson, I think KCP can be able to stick with Duncan Robinson. And guess what?
Danny Green can probably stick with him, too.
Exactly, because you don't have to worry about Duncan Robinson beating you off the dribble. It's protect the three-point line, guard that, and make sure you contest. Don't jump at him. Just contest and keep it moving. And on the defensive end, he's not guarding anybody. So KCP or even Kyle, I wish Brandon Ingram was here, Kuzma, he may end up having a great series.
Kyle, I wish Brandon Ingram was here, Kuzma.
he may end up having a decent series, Mike. You know how much I hate Kyle Kuzma. He may end up getting it going in this series because listen, Miami, they have a lot of heart, and I love that. I love how gritty they are. They are the epitome of their head coach. They're the epitome of their lead dog, which is Jimmy Butler. But Iguodala is an old man. And we're not going to get the Iguodala of 2015 MVP. You're not getting that.
Right.
You're not, Jamison Crowder. What's his name? Crowder.
Jay Crowder.
Yeah, Jay Crowder. He's not the same guy he was.
Goran Dragic.
Yeah, Goran Dragic. He's been phenomenal in these playoffs, but you're not going to see that in this playoff.
No.
It's going to be a frustrating series for the Heat. I still think that they're going to fight because one thing that I do respect with them is that they don't give up. They don't give up. They're kind of like the Nuggets where you can keep punching them in the face and they're going to keep getting up. They're going to keep getting up. So you can never fall asleep against this team. You're going to see leads from the Lakers of 12, 15, 17. The thing with the Lakers is that are they going to go to sleep or are they going to be that aggressive team and say, this is the NBA Finals. There is no tomorrow. There is no other round. This is it. It's time for us to lock in, put the hammer down and put this to bed early. That's what I want to see out of the Lakers. I need to see them be aggressive, take that aggressiveness and hammer it home. Don't let them think that they have a shot.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the Lakers. I think LeBron is playing with a chip on his shoulder. I don't think LeBron wants to lose another finals. He's going to be playing with that chip on his shoulder, so he's going to go hard in this series, in my opinion. Yeah. And again, I think that plays a factor too, because Jimmy Butler is probably going to be guarding LeBron a lot of this series, and if he's guarding LeBron, he needs Jason Terry? Yeah, very funny. But no, for real though, like. That's got me messed up. No. But if Jimmy Butler's got to guard, if Jimmy Butler's got to guard LeBron James the whole night, he ain't going to be much of a factor on the offensive side of the floor.
No,
he's just not, because he's got to deal with LeBron guarding him too.
Like, think about it, Mike. Think about it. Look, go back. I'll let you finish your point, but go back to the Boston series. Jimmy Butler struggled in that series. He struggled mightily in that series. He did not look good offensively. Other than game one, he had a stinker the rest of the series. So if he has to deal with LeBron James for the entirety of this series, you're going to see the same struggle. And if they struggle like that, good night. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. Yeah, that was really my point, is Jimmy's going to have to guard LeBron James, and then he's going to have to get guarded by LeBron James. Yeah. And listen, Jimmy Butler's a really nice player, but Jimmy is not nearly the offensive threat that some of these other superstars in the league are, right? He's not a two-way player like Kawhi can drop 28, can drop 28 points a game. Honestly, if Jimmy averages 22 points a game a year for him, that's a lot. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy's between 18 and 21 point per game scorer. That's just, it's not his game. You know what I mean? So I think LeBron is going to have no problem guarding him, and he's going to have trouble guarding LeBron. And again, this is why I'm saying the Heat might take a game, because Jimmy Butler might look really nice against LeBron early in the series, but once you get a game under your belt, a game, 2 games under your belt, it isn't sustainable. He's going to tire out. So that's going to be, I think, a big factor in this series also.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. It's I think, and then you're hearing this this notion go around real quick. If the Lakers win this series and they win it handily, and LeBron is the MVP, is there an asterisk next to this championship?
No, come on. Let's be real, okay? And I would have said the same thing if it were anybody else. All of these teams that were in this bubble were playing by the same rules. Yeah. Okay, they all had the same amount of time off. They all had, this really weird, obscure environment that they had to play in. Yeah. They're all playing by the same rules. I wouldn't put an asterisk next to this. I think that's a little crazy.
I agree.
I think it's nuts.
I agree. You're going to have your LeBron haters out there to say that this is, Skip Bayless.
Yeah,
this is the biggest cakewalk and it's not. Like, to think about what this bubble has been for these players, to not be able to leave, to it just be about basketball. When was the last time guys actually had this type of experience? AAU, not even in high school. Because at the end of the day, in high school, you get to go home. You get to hang out with your friends. Like, this is the most unique experience that these athletes will ever go through forever.
Right. For some of the young players, this is an AAU tournament.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's the same sort of environment where you're stuck in a hotel for a week playing, 2 games a day. Like, it's an AAU tournament for some of these guys.
Right. But for the for the veterans, man, it's a grind. It's a grind. So, I appreciate this championship run for any team that wins it more than any other year. This was a unique year, and I'm just glad that we're actually going to have an NBA champion, because 6 months ago we didn't think this was possible.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point too. Honestly, and this is honestly the way that I view this. Whoever does win the championship, you could put an asterisk next to it, but it's an asterisk the other way around. Like, I think you should get more credit
it's a
for
badge
this
of honor
rather than less. This was not an easy situation. If you're the team that made it through all this as the champ, you should get extra credit for that, not less.
I agree. And listen, man, if LeBron wins this final, to me, and this is just my opinion, obviously you're going to have people in here that say different or whatever. LeBron is the GOAT, man. Like, 3 championships. Just think about this. Like, we're not talking about a role player that has left the team and gone somewhere and he's won championships. He's participated and even helped, win that championship. But this is a guy that helped 3 different organizations win championships while he's still the lead dog.
Yep.
That's unheard of.
This ain't Robert Horry. This isn't Steve Kerr.
Exactly. This is not Steve Kerr. This is not Robert Horry. People, when LeBron James's career is over, no matter if it's haters, people are never going to like him. You're never going to convince somebody who hates LeBron to like him. But my thing is this. When you look at 10 finals appearances, when you look at 4 rings, if he were to retire after this, right, and wins the championship, who is going to be able to say that they're going to do that? What player can you look at and say, I think that guy has the ability to do exactly what LeBron did? There is none. There will never be a guy like this, in my opinion, ever again. Ever again. It just doesn't make sense.
Maybe. Listen, I've always kept the open idea that, if we believe that a player now is better than Michael Jordan, then I think it's realistic to think that there could be a player that's better than LeBron James eventually. Like that's the way that I see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there are some people that don't believe that MJ will ever be eclipsed. I think he has been, but I also think that LeBron could be eclipsed in the future. I don't think that it's impossible.
2 seconds.